This is my channel Wheelsnoheels. I make videos all about disability and my life on wheels and vlogs and all that kind of stuff. It seems ages since I sat down and filmed a video like this. Today I wanted to sit down and film a recreation video on what's it like to be a woman in a wheelchair, because I bet you're sitting there and you're thinking, I wonder what it's like to be a woman in a wheelchair. If you're not one, or maybe you are one, I don't know, I'll stop waffling. Buzzfeed made a video on what is it like to be a woman in a wheelchair, and they interviewed a woman in a wheelchair about what it's like, and she answered the questions, so you got one perspective. And then I came across Annie Laney's video, and she did a video on the same questions, so she gave her perspective. So now I'm going to give you Jen's perspective on what's it like to be a woman in a wheelchair. And I will leave those videos linked down below. So the first question is, have you ever used your wheelchair as a weapon? Maybe. Accidentally, on purpose? No, I don't think I have. No, I haven't used it as a weapon. It can be quite lethal though, because if someone's pushing you, they can't see the foot plates, so they can't gauge how close you are to someone in front of you. So when you're in big crowds, sometimes I get quite tense because I feel like whoever's pushing me might run up the back of someone's ankles and push the foot plates or my feet into them. That has happened on a few occasions. I've accidentally run over people's feet and fingers and bumped into people accidentally. Sometimes shop fittings and things like that I've been trying to get through and it's just gone whack and I've knocked stuff flying, but I've never intentionally used it as a weapon. Funnily enough though, I feel a lot safer and secure when I am in my wheelchair. Years ago I used to go out on crutches and stuff at night, and when I could do that, and I found that I always felt very vulnerable because I don't have much balance and things like that, and obviously I wasn't very fast. But being in my wheelchair, I'm a lot faster, I'm secure, I'm stable, I've got my hands free if I need to. So I actually feel more secure in my wheelchair. Does it feel like people are going out of their way to be nice to you? Yes, I think so. I think with the general public in the UK, I think English people do tend to be nicey and oh yes, sorry, you know. And I've spoken about that before in some previous videos. If I'm in the way, people apologise to me and they're like, oh sorry. And it's like, no, I was the one in the way. So yeah, definitely people do go out their way to be nice to me and be helpful, which to be honest, I'm not complaining. I'd much rather people be nice to me than not so nice to me. Does it bug you if people ask if you need help? No, it doesn't at all. I would much rather someone say, oh, do you need a hand with that? Than sit there and watch me suffer or struggle. And you know, I can just easily say, it's alright, I've got this. You know, quite a lot of people will stop by, see me getting my wheelchair in the car, and they'll ask me if I need help with that. And I'm like, oh, no thank you, I've got this under control. Because if you're watching this as a disabled person, when it comes to like your aids and stuff and your tips and your tricks, you kind of got everything mastered and you've got it down to like a little knack. And I have got getting my wheelchair into the car down to a T. And I think if people don't know how to handle a wheelchair, it just becomes a nightmare, and they're like, oh, how does this work? And you know, and it's just like, you know, in the end you're just like, don't worry, I can handle this, I got this. So no, I don't mind at all. I think if people say, oh, do you need a hand with that? And you're like, no, I'm fine, but then they still help you anyway, that can be frustrating. But I don't know about you if you're watching this, but I've got a lot better as I've got older, and I'll just accept help sometimes. Whereas before, even though I actually did need help with something, I would suffer and push myself to do it, even though I couldn't really do it, or I really could have done with some help there. I think that does sort of come with age, and you're just like, yeah, okay, you know, I can handle people helping me, so I don't mind at all if people want to help me. I'm not disabled. Can I use the disabled toilet? Oh, now this is a toughie, because I would say no. Because a person with a disability, whether it's visible or invisible, needs to use that bathroom, and they can't use any other bathrooms or toilets. And there are people out there who have got incontinence issues. They might have a colonoscopy. Oh my goodness, I can't say it, but you know what I'm saying. They might be catheterized, and they might have to use that bathroom right there and then. And if it's not available because someone is using that bathroom, even though they could stand in a queue, then they could be in a very messy, tricky situation. Also, I would never question anybody using the disabled bathroom, because you can't see every disability. And I think people like myself who have a visible disability need to sort of cut the slack a bit and be open and just think, you just don't know. You don't know what is below the surface. So I always give the benefit of the doubt where I can. But yeah, please don't use the disabled bathroom if you don't need to. Would you rather people ignore your wheelchair? I guess this means, like, if you're meeting someone for the first time, then yes, like, you know, if I'm meeting new friends for the first time, or meeting people in a bar or wherever, yes, I think I would. Get to know me as a person, and, you know, once we know each other, we can talk more about the situation and you can get to know me. I think when someone does have a disability, you've got to give it time. You've got to get to know someone before you can see. I think if someone's got a disability, it is nice to actually get to know them as a person and put the disability to one side. You know, when you meet someone for the first time, you don't talk about really intimate details. You get to know them. Where do you work? What do you do? Da 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 da. And leave it at that. And then the next time, you know, you get to know people more and more. I think you need to be more aware that we wouldn't ask an able-bodied person a very personal question about their medical history or their sex life, for example. I mean, that's pretty personal. And, you know, I think sometimes talking about a disability or why you're disabled is very personal and can be a bit shocking and awkward. I speak to people on a Facebook page with spinal cord injuries, and some of the ways that they had their injuries are very shocking. I mean, some of them have been shot, they've had horrific car accidents, and when you're meeting someone for the first time, you don't really want to talk about that. You just want to talk about the weather or how nice the coffee is in this place. You know what I mean? So yeah, ignore it. Just get on with it and treat people as human individuals, you know? Does it bother you when people call you inspiring? No, not at all. I think it's really humbling, actually, and I never used to get it. It's only since I do online stuff that people say, oh, you're such an inspiration, thank you so much for this, it's really helped me. And I cannot tell you how much joy that gives me, because I've always thought that what has happened to me and why I'm in a wheelchair has always been to help others, inspire others and be happy. So when people who have a disability or even don't have a disability say to me, Jem, thank you so much for your video, it really helped me, it inspired me and I feel so much better. That's what I'm all about, really. So yeah, I am. I mean, if you watch the Buzzfeed video, the girl says, oh, you know, don't call me inspiring just because I've got up, I've got dressed and I've gone to work, which I can understand what she's saying with that. But if people call me inspiring because I've done something that has helped them individually, then I'm just absolutely over the moon. I mean, I've had messages on Instagram that have reduced me to tears because I've just felt so happy that someone has A, taken the time to reach out to me, and B, you know, my work is helping other people, and that's all I can ask for really. What can we do as a society to make life easier for people in wheelchairs? Well, you know, the world is getting a lot better. When I was first disabled, it was a bit of a nightmare accessibility wise, but I think here in the UK I can't really complain too much because we have an amazing system. We've got the national health. I mean, people slag the NHS off a bit sometimes, and you know, it does have its moments, but when I hear of people's experience over in America where they've got to pay for their healthcare, it's just sort of mind-blowing really. But yeah, we're really lucky in that department. Accessibility is getting a lot better. I think transport's getting better. I actually don't tend to use public transport. I'm a bit sort of not keen, but I have seen that it is getting better. The thing that would just make life really easy are those buttons, you know, the disabled buttons that open the doors. Automatic doors are amazing. I think pavements could probably be a bit better. Reduced curbs and things like that. Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Is there anything that you think that society can do to make things better? Is it offensive when people stare at you? Now, I've made a whole video on this, so go and check it out if you want to. But I really struggled with it in the beginning. I was a child, you know, when I became disabled, and I really struggled with it. And now I don't really notice it. You do become used to it. Yeah, so I don't tend to notice it that much anymore. So if you are struggling with it at the moment, then watch my video, but also know that it does get better and you don't notice it so much. And it does tend to be children, and they don't know any better. So, you know, you can wave to them, ask them a question, break the stare. I had this one girl who was in a shop the other day who was probably a little bit too old to be staring at me the way she was. I would say she was in her very early teens. And yeah, no, she just would not stop staring. Like, I mean, blatantly, stop what you're doing, drop everything and staring at me. So I just sort of was like, you're right there. And she was like, oh my god, yes, yeah, and then that was it really. So yeah, I just don't notice it. Ooh, this is a question. What advice would you give to young women in wheelchairs? Maybe I should. Be yourself. Be yourself unapologetically. Friendships and relationships can be hard to maintain and deal with and keep. But if someone is worthy of you, worthy of your time, and wants to be your friend, they will put everything aside and they will be your friend. And if they can't recognise that you have a disability and you don't connect, don't waste your time. Move on. There are lots of people out there who are understanding and who will accept you for who you are. And you can achieve anything you want if you put your mind to it. Don't let anybody stop you. You can do it. You got this, girl. So those are my answers on what's it like to be in a wheelchair. If you want to answer one of the questions down below, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already.